Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen Workshop. It is August 28th, 2025, and it is 5:30 p.m. The prayer on Tuesday night will be with Vice Mayor No, and I'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone should have a copy of the minutes from the August 5th workshop and the August 7th public hearing and regular meeting. Moving on to public comment period. We do have a few people signed up, so if everyone will please forgive me if I mispronounce anybody's names, but we're going to call up everybody in order. If you would just state your name and address for the record. First, we have Deborah Mednick. Come on up. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Deborah Mednick. I live at 136 Lakewood Drive. And I just wanted to let you know that we are really wanting to get the estate residential put into order to save our neighborhood. And I say save because we have the most beautiful neighborhood in all of Laverne. That may step on some toes, but that's the way we feel. We moved into the neighborhood. We had looked and looked. We did not want to be elbow to elbow with neighbors. We like people, but we wanted our own space. We just happened to drive into our neighborhood, saw it, and thought, this is the place. It's beautiful. The houses are well maintained. There's lots of space. You can do what you need to do without bothering your neighbors, vice versa. If we wanted to live in a crowded neighborhood, there's plenty of those, but there aren't plenty of our neighborhood. So I just wanted to say, please take time, think about it. Let it be known that we really want to keep our neighborhood as it is. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Jennifer. No, I did not.
My name is Jennifer Seekeroon. I live at 130 Tulip Poplar. We're probably some of the newest residents in our neighborhood. We were in a subdivision in South Nashville on a quarter-acre lot. We have 3 wonderful children, ages 16, 12, and 6. At our old house, they weren't able to go outside. Our neighborhood had speeding cars. We lived on a busy road. We were always hearing police cars, ambulances, and drag race, and it just generally was not as safe for them to be outside other than our backyard. We decided we wanted to move and started looking. My husband came out and looked at our house in our new neighborhood and fell in love with it instantly. I thought he was crazy because it needed so much work, but he kept telling me it's about the bigger picture of what the neighborhood and house has to offer. We left behind an almost paid off mortgage, a house we truly loved, a house we brought home all of our babies from the hospital to, a house that held so many treasured memories to move to start a new dream. What we saw in this neighborhood was a place where our children could play outside and have the freedom to explore, a place we did not have to have our guard up all the time, a place that had a small town feel where neighbors looked after each other. We didn't sell ourselves and our kids on the idea only for it to end up like our old neighborhood, where you're elbow to elbow with your neighbors. The more people you bring in, the more problems you're going to have. That goes without being said. When we bought our house, we bought it for the serene neighborhood. We bought it as a place we would leave our kids one day, and we bought it as our forever home. I work in North Nashville and have a heck of a commute every day. People often ask why I do that and why I wouldn't buy somewhere closer to my work. And I say, because once I get home, I'm in my happy place. I can sit on my porch and enjoy the quiet. My kids play outside, ride their four-wheeler and motorcycle and Barbie RVs in the cul-de-sac and shoot hockey pucks. Don't take away what we bought into and make it like every other neighborhood in Tennessee. We love our neighbors, but we want our space, we want our privacy. That's why I'm asking you to please rezone Vaughnwood as a state residential where we can continue to live the way we have for the last 3.5 years, keep our wildlife safe, our roads safe, and our neighbors safe, and keep letting our kids have the childhood we promised them when we moved and uprooted their lives to follow a dream in a neighborhood we love and truly want to protect. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Victoria Whitlow.
I'm Victoria Whitlow. I live at 124 Tulip Poplar Drive here in Laverne. I've been living here since 1994. My husband and I found our forever home 10 years later in the Vaughan Woods subdivision, a peaceful neighborhood with large lots and a quiet natural setting near the lake. It felt immediately like home, and with the zoning right now being R2, it does not reflect the original intent or character of our community. Our neighborhood was built with spacious, single-family living, and residents value the privacy and tranquility of than higher density zoning threatens. Even R1 falls short, preserving Vaughan Woods' unique scale and charm. That's why we respectfully request the committee to consider estate zoning, a designation that aligns with the subdivision's original vision: larger lots, lower density, and preserved open spaces. We respectfully urge you to recognize Vaughan Woods' distinct character and consider estate zoning as a proper path forward. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next, we have Stacy Lanker.
Hello, I'm Stacy Lanker. I live at, I'm sorry. I live at 112 Tulip Poplar Drive, and I've been there approximately 14 years. And my first home I purchased, I was in a neighborhood that was a lot closer, and I realized that I wanted to be in a type of neighborhood that I grew up in as a child. Vaughan Wood is so unique that there's lots of open space with property. There's neighbors that have been there since the beginning, and every neighbor knows everybody. We know every car that comes in. We know if there's a stranger in our neighborhood, and that's what makes us so unique, because these newer, larger neighborhoods, unfortunately, people don't get to know their neighbors. So that's what we're trying to save. I can't do this with you, Jason. Sorry.
Turn and talk to me.
But we've had several meetings with our neighborhood. We've reached out to the neighbors electronically. We've gone door to door, knocking door to door. We've posted the meetings that were happening with the city. We've explained the differences in R2, which we currently are, with R1, which we, respect that that's what the Planning Commission recommended. However, we've been talking about estate residential for at least 4 years, and that's really aligns with what Vaughan Wood is all about. I got signatures of over 90% of the neighbors. I'm still working on getting a few more. But if my Vaughan Wood neighbors would stand up. Everybody that's here is on this sheet, and then some. We have a few people that's out tonight because they're sick and didn't want to bring their illness to the community. We also have Miss Vaughn here, hence Vaughan Wood. Her family it was their family's farm that turned into the community it is today. And so I just want to, if you don't mind, somebody passing these to the
Lieutenant
Aldermen.
Stats.
And that's all the signatures we have so far, and we'll be glad to continue to work to get the rest of them if we need to. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Elton Phelps.
Most of my neighbors know me as Chris. I use Elton because that's what's on the property records, so I figured y'all need to match us up. So I think you can, I live, Elton Phelps, live at 117 Vaughan Wood. We also own 151 Vaughan Wood. We purchased that and moved my parents in because we love the neighborhood so much. And we wanted them to experience it too, to live out their years and be close by for us to be there to help and all that, and add to our neighborhood. So Vaughnwood is a special place. I think you can see that just by what you're hearing, what you've seen. We moved here in 2017. We brought our 5-year-old and our 7-year-old, and we kind of trusted this neighborhood to raise them with me. We really kind of act a little more like family than a neighborhood, it seems, sometimes. I remember when we moved in, a tree had fallen, and I had 3 neighbors on 3 separate occasions pull into the driveway. They said, "What are you going to do about that tree?" So I knew then they were going to keep an eye on me, but they were also lending a hand to help. So that's the kind of neighborhood we've got here. And from here on out, I'm going to say we, because we have met, we have discussed estate residential, we have discussed what it means for our properties, and we understand it. We know what it entails. We know how it affects our values of our property, and we are also certain that that's what we want for Vaughnwood. I heard, speaking with Jim after the last planning meeting, which I was unable to attend, he said, he brought up the term taking. I don't really know what that is. I think y'all do. But from my understanding, it's has to do with the value of our property. Well, you can't just value a property by how many lots it can be divided into and sold for and what kind of money it can bring. There's a lot to value. There's the quiet, serene, the wildlife. I can look out my door and I can look for over 100 feet and not see another house. I can see trees. I can see my neighbors at a distance, and the beautiful land that surrounds us. And that's what we value. That's what this neighborhood values. This is what these people, my neighbors, my family, what we value in our neighborhood. And if you, by not doing estate residential, you are taking from us. Estate residential doesn't take from us. It preserves our neighborhood. It preserves what we've got here. And we're asking each one of you to protect our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next, we have Jim Kelsey.
Hello, my name's Jim Kelsey. I live at 107 Lakewood Drive, and I've been there since 1991. And I promise I'm gonna make this short. I've got 4 lots in Vaughnwood, and I really can't add anything to what my wonderful neighbors have said, except that I really hope that you'll support us with this estate residential. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jim Hessman, current planning commissioner.
You're already reading my script. This is Jim Hazeman. I'm at 141 Vaughnwood Drive in Laverne, obviously. Currently serve on the planning commission and have had active role giving feedback, participating, and reviewing the new zoning regulations and definitions. These regulations are also connected with the proposed zoning map, where the neighborhood known as Vaughnwood was proposed to enter into a new designation of estate residential with the revision of the zoning map. Over the course of the next year and a half, we met several times as a planning commission, along with a consultant, and this appeared to be the direction. This was discussed among our neighborhood, Vaughnwood, and our neighbors were excited that our location was being protected from future development that might encroach on our quiet and beautiful location. A few months ago, the zoning map was brought back up for discussion so that it could be moved forward from the Planning Commission for recommendation to this board, BOMA. The proposed map that we were discussing now did not include any designation of estate residential. It was still in the new zoning regulations and definitions, but not on the map. While I understood the reasons behind the change, I didn't agree. We gathered our neighbors together to discuss, and just as Stacy shared earlier, you can see that there is resounding and overwhelming support by the Vaughnwood neighborhood to move the new designation of estate residential, which will be included in the new zoning. We are asking the board to honor the request of our Vaughnwood community to move to the new designation of estate residential when it becomes official.
Thank you, Jim. Next, we have Larry Lanker.
I'm Larry Lanker. I live at 112 Tulip Poplar Drive, and I'm with everyone else here. You've heard everything we've done, met together, discussed everything, discussed definitions, so on and so forth. And we do have a copy, and we can provide it if anybody'd like to see it. The original covenants that J.R. Vaughn, the original owner, set forth for all these properties. Single-family homes,
Bless you.
brick. If anybody needed a garage, they wanted an attached garage, they'd have to get permission and stuff from him. And this is entered into the county books. It was entered into county books in 1978, and we have copies of that. And everything that's there now is what he saw where he wanted to live and have his family live. And that's what we're just asking to keep together the way it is. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brian Roberg. Welcome back, sir.
My name is Brian Roberge. I live at 133 Vaughnwood Drive. You all got an email from me earlier today requesting your support for residential zoning. What I didn't put in there is that it is a real problem. The house that Jim lives in now came up for sale before he bought it because the family lost it due to illness. One of the local developers in this area tried to buy that house and put in his stated purpose was to put a house between mine and Jim's house. I think I came down and talked to Bruce here, and he said it could be done at that time, R2. Even if you move it to R1, it would not stop that from happening to that lot and many other lots in the subdivision. That's why I think the move, as you heard, for all the value that my neighbors put into it, I have the same value of that property. We've lived there for 40 years, and I really would not like to see more housing put in just because there's property available for it. I would appreciate your support for the state residential zoning. Thank you.
Miss Dana Carter.
Good evening. I'm Dana Carter. I live at 127 Bonewood Drive. I'm here to speak for me and my husband. He's absent today due to surgery yesterday. Even though he wanted to be here to speak, I didn't think it would be a good idea, even though it'd probably be entertaining, but not a good idea. So we are in support of the estate residential. We bought our house about 10 years ago, moved from Laverne. We moved our family to Laverne 30 years ago, raised both of my children here. I taught at Laverne Middle School. I've volunteered thousands of hours at the Laverne High School with the marching band when my son was in competition there, traveled all over the world. So we are rooted here. Our house was paid for as our first home together as a married couple. Paid our house off. If anybody knows what that feels like, to be a year without having to pay a house note. To quickly have my husband find the house we currently live in and tried to sell me on living in a area with the woods behind us. Our property backs up to Percy Priest Lake, so I don't have neighbors other than your local deer and skunk, whatever. So he kind of sold me on it. I'm glad he did, because I bought into the property. I also bought into the family that I have now. This is my extended family. We go to bowling together, we have cookouts, we do everything together. And I've never had that in a neighborhood. You know, we lived over off of Fergus, and if all you know, it's all very close-knit. Nobody knows each other. You know everybody's business, but you don't know my name, and you don't know. But I did. I sewed into the community. I've dedicated my time, my children's time, my family's time, and I really would like to see it stay an estate residential for my children to maybe one day have our home. Thank you.
You. Next, we have Susan Phelps.
Hello, I'm Susan Phelps. I live at 117 Vondwood Drive. We also have the other lot down the street with my in-laws. Everything everyone has said, I completely agree with. I don't need to necessarily repeat it for everyone. I just want to add that I think it is important for a city to be diverse in what it has to offer their residents. So to have an area that's estate residential can do nothing but improve the city to keep us with an offering of bigger lots in a beautiful community that we all love. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have James King.
Good evening, everybody. My name is James King. I live at 120 Lakewood Drive with my wife, Gretchen King. I sent an email earlier this week to everyone. I appreciate everyone that's responded, just to show that you guys actively engage in the community and what their concerns and everything are. I agree, or I echo everything that my family and neighbors have mentioned throughout this this evening, and just look forward to your guys' consideration when it comes to putting this on the board, or at least to having a discussion about it. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. And then last, I've got a Neil Patel.
I think I put the wrong name for this wrong thing. Actually, I'm here to change the zoning from R1 to R3.
Okay.
So my turn is number 10.
Okay, well, you would, this is citizens' comments, so you would
Okay.
have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay. So my name is Neil Patel, and I own the 180 Blair Road property here. It's about 32.63 acre land, and we have close to over 8 acres in the buffers. And current zoning actually is R1, and I would like to change actually the zoning from R1 to R3.
Okay,
This is my request, yes.
okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we're going to move on. Tuesday night, we will have all of the departmental reports. Moving into old business, second reading ordinance 2025-21, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 29, parcel 38, property consisting of approximately 4.36 acres, property located at 782 Waldron Road. Current zoning is R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District. Proposed zoning is C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on June 24th, 2025. Is there any discussion on this?
Are there concerns for spot zoning with this property? Legal issues with spot zoning? That's more to you.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to comment on that, like in this context. The only body that can declare spot zoning would be a court. So
Okay.
you can have people accuse somebody of spot zoning, but until a court declares it spot zoning, there's nothing I can do to say this is spot zoning or not.
Any other discussion? Okay, moving on to number 5. Second reading ordinance 2025-22, an ordinance to amend Title II of the Laverne Municipal Code by deleting Title II, Chapter 3, regarding the Local Emergency Planning Committee. This is second reading. Does anyone have any questions? Number 6, second reading ordinance 2025-23, an ordinance to amend Title 7, Chapter 6, Section 7-615 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the permissible dates and times for discharge of fireworks. Does anyone have any questions?
If this passes, will it go into effect December?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
And Bruce, this is updated to the wording from the first reading.
Yes, it only affects December 31st, not July 4th.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Number 7, second reading ordinance 2025-24, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2025-2026 Parks Capital Project Fund budget. Any questions? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. First, we have approve or reject city bids and purchases. Number one is bid HVAC maintenance, repair, and replacement. And you can see that in here. Looks like the bid from Air Conditioning Services Incorporated for the biannual maintenance and monthly filter changes are $50,398 per year. Labor rate for repairs is $195 per hour with parts at 30% markup. Replacement services will be billed at a cost of 30%. Does anyone have any questions?
I'll say there's a large differences between the lowest and the high bid.
Yes. Any questions? Moving on to number two, bid electrical maintenance and repair. This is the recommendation from staff is to award this to Admin Electric Company, and they were the let's see here, the bid for the hourly rates are the lowest, and the parts are a markup of 20%. Any questions on that?
So it's being, staff is recommending admin?
It is, there's a slight typo in the summary.
Admin.
It's admin, but it's in there as admin. So.
Yeah, I'll fix that.
In this column over here, the markup, 20, 20, 15, and 5.
Mm-hmm. The parts markup.
Right. That's what their price is.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we not doing the other ones?
So this is, admin is the low bid overall. So you have to look at each of the columns. You have the rates, and it's broken down by your regular rates, your overtime rates, emergency and holiday rates, and it's broken down by your master electrician, your journeyman electrician, your apprentice, and then laborer helpers.
So it just all equals out in the end anyway, don't it?
Yes, so once you factor in all the different rates, they are the low bid.
I got you.
Any other questions on that? Okay, number three, bid traffic signal on high mast lighting installation, maintenance, and repair. And the recommendation for this is Stansell Electric Company, and you can see everything in your packet as far as this is for, just like it's described, it's your traffic signals and your high mast lighting. So whether it's installation, maintenance, repair, replacement, the whole works. Number four, Omnia Partners contract purchase laptop computers for police vehicles. This is for 7 laptop computers and docks for police vehicles. The total cost for all 7 is $30,110.85. Does anyone have any questions? And this is off of our Omnia contract. Number 5, ratify the emergency purchase of a replacement roof for the police department annex building. So as you can see in your packet, we had a slight problem with that building's roof and needed to get a new roof on there. So we went ahead and authorized this as an emergency purchase so that they're not working with that giant hole. And the total for the entire roof replacement's $38,590.61. Any questions? Moving on to B, approve memorandum of understanding with Motlow State Community College for advanced emergency medical technician training. This is just our annual contract with, or our annual MOU with Motlow for that training, and the cost is not to exceed $15,000. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to C, approve a utility relocation agreement with Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Cooperation for relocating electrical utilities for the Blair Road West Extension Project. And you should see all of the breakdown for that. The total cost for the city is going to be $164,275.32. Does anyone have any questions? I know Evan spent quite a bit of time working with their attorneys on this. Moving on to D, approve a joint engagement letter with Consolidated Utility District, the City of Murfreesboro, and the Town of Smyrna for a water supply reallocation study request with the United States Army Corps of Engineers. So this goes back to a discussion that we had back with the budget workshops and discussing the need to go ahead and get a study together and on future water needs to make sure that we have enough water allocated from the lake for the city for the future. In sitting down with some conversations with CUD and the City of Murfreesboro and the Town of Smyrna, it was decided rather than everyone doing their own and there being quite a bit of overlap, there can be a joint one done. And it saves both time, money, as we're all studying the same area and we all have various needs. And so this is authorizing that. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to E, approve application for a roadblock to be conducted by the Shriners from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, October 4th, 2025, with a rain date of October 11th, 2025, at the intersection of Murfreesboro Road and Stones River Road. This is something that we see pretty much annually from them. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, we're going to move on to new business. First reading, ordinance 2025-25. An ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 18K, Group A, Parcel 6. Property consists of approximately 13.63 acres. Property located at the end of Wheeler Street. Current zoning is I-1, Light Industrial Zoning District. Proposed zoning is I-2, Heavy Industrial Zoning District. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on July 29th, 2025. A public hearing will be held this Tuesday at 5:45 on this item. Does anyone have any questions? This is involving the 84 lumber.
Has that got anything to do, is it gonna bother that church over there or anything, or is it gonna go in behind it, or?
It's going to take the area behind it. I think I know Planning Commission had the images, but yeah, you've got the images in your packet where they're going to work with. There is since they're industrial butting up against the church, there will be a transitional buffer there for the church. And they're essentially just expanding operations with 84 lumber, adding more storage. And then at the same time, I believe they've also been working on some road improvements related to that entrance, which I will defer to Alderman Coates for that part.
Question.
So I'll just tell the rest of the board, I spent some great deal of time with the applicant and their engineers. We knew we had some issues on Wheeler Street coming off Jefferson Pike. They have agreed to do the improvements that the city staff have recommended at their cost. They've also will be doing some improvements on their entranceway, so the dust they're bringing off their current property onto Wheeler Street and onto Jefferson Pike will be contained. And they've been a good group to work with. Everything we asked them to do, they've done.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to number 10, first reading ordinance 2025-26. An ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 29, parcel 42. Property consists of approximately 32.5 acres, properly located at 180 Blair Road. Current zoning is R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District. Proposed zoning is R3 High Density Residential Zoning District. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on July 29th, 2025. And again, a public hearing will be held Tuesday, on this? Does anyone have any discussion?
So, I compliment our planning commission. They do a good job. But I absolutely 100% am against this. I think there's been enough rezoning out in that area, especially with R3. That is R1, it needs to stay that way, and there needs to be, if anybody wants to put some nice homes out there, but I'm only one vote. There's 5 of us. I'm only one, but I am totally against this.
Now, for context, this is the old doctor's mansion that blew up more than a decade ago. Has sat there. In your packet, you can kind of see the rendering by Thomas Hutton Engineering, and it shows at least the lot, a road, and then it shows the stream, which was the factor with Planning Commission that there's a concern as the stream cuts off with our buffers a good chunk of that property.
Yeah, we rezoned that to R3, and it ends up a bunch of apartments or something, and it's going to, it ain't gonna be good. But that's just.
I agree with Steve. I get concerned about going to R3, especially with Blair Road being the only accessibility there. It is R3 across the street already. But the adjacent neighborhoods, and if we're trying to keep up with the characteristics of the Woodsong neighborhood, which is zoned R1, I believe we should keep it that way. I understand that the streams here might, give people a little bit more leeway as far as available property when you're trying to build, but at the same time, let's try to keep characteristics similar to what's already with the existing neighborhoods that have been there for quite a long time. So I agree. I can see how this could create some issues.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions?
Just like to let the board know that one of the concerns the Planning Commission has is we need to improve Blair Road. I think everyone realises and understands that. And the applicant is aware that we want to widen the road. The Planning Commission historically, including myself, has always encouraged when development does come in that the developer pays the widening of the road and not the citizens. So just so the rest of the board understands that one of the concerns is if it stays R1, which is okay, when the development comes along, if the development comes along and we ask them to widen the road and straighten the road out, it could be an issue, or it will be an issue due to the cost. So just bear that in mind. Obviously, the Planning Commission have worked heavily on this area, and the concern is getting the road where it needs to be.
And that was something that was brought up. It was stated a traffic study, regardless of what goes in, will have to be done. And the real estate agent who was here was able to commit during the workshop that that road improvements would be done. They would commit to that. So that was discussed. Anyone else?
So my question is, you have all these different developers out there, and they're all committing to widening of Blair Road in their area. Will that be, I want to say altogether.
So
I can't think of the word. It starts with the C.
will it be coordinated?
That's it. That's it. Sorry, my brain just went.
So this one had committed to road improvements. Now, that, mind you, that would typically occur when the property develops. We don't have a site plan for this at this point. The property that's closest to this that's developing currently is Arbor Ridge. Arbor Ridge dedicated all of the right-of-way for Waldron Road, which is, we're going through the right-of-way acquisition for widening of that. And Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong on this, all of the portion going down Blair for their property line. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're required
Yeah.
to do that.
Dedicating the the property for that. So they're not doing it, I think it's Ashton Woods that owns it now. They weren't doing the widening. But the property was donated to the city for that. So that we don't have to go through and purchase it.
I mean, you know, it'd be really a hot mess if you had a developer doing it and then one not, and then one, I mean.
Ultimately, they have to do it to our standards, similar to like a pump station upgrade, or they don't do it to their standards, they do it to what ours is.
And I mean, I don't mean to say that maybe this area would never be appropriate for R3, but I think currently right now, because that means he could go in and build these apartments tomorrow, and Blair Road is not sufficient to support that. Tomorrow, 2 years, probably even closer to 5 years from now. So like I said, I'm not saying that this would never be appropriate for R3. Maybe sometime in the future it would be, but as today stands, and the fact that the developer could go in and start building within months, Blair cannot support that right now. And I think we also need to be careful as far as developers coming in and saying that they're going to support road improvements. Are they supporting road improvements, or are they supporting the widening of Blair Road? Because those are two different things. Like, the developer can say, I'm gonna pay to improve the roads, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna agree to pay to widen the road. So I think we need to be careful in the language that developers bring to us as far as stipulating what that means exactly.
Okay.
So let me respond to that. If they got approval of the two readings, the timing for them to get a site plan drawn up and shoveling the dirt would not be immediate. It's going to take them months, not even a year to get where they need to be. Obviously got to come through planning commission so we can ensure it's done per our standards. So it's not an immediate thing. It would take at least 12 months to get where they're starting to move stuff. At least 12
Well, I mean, the widening of Blair as well, right? I mean, we don't even have funding for that secured as far as.
We do. We have secured funding
All of Blair?
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
Well, I stick by my guns. I think there's been enough R3 out there. I think we need to cool our heels in that area, let it catch up. And as Alderwoman Hobbs says, maybe, in the near future, but we need to cool our heels out there and let the city catch up. We've got a lot of stuff going on out there, a lot of good stuff. Bringing more R3 out there is, in my opinion, is just not good business. But like I said, I'm just one vote. It takes three. I'm just one.
Any other discussion? Okay. Moving on to the hot topic of the night. First reading ordinance 2025-27, an ordinance repealing the existing zoning ordinance and zoning map, adopting a new zoning ordinance and zoning map, and amending Title 14 of the Laverne Municipal Code in conformity with the same. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on July 29th, 2025. We will be having a public hearing on Tuesday night at 5:45. With that, any questions, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When the new zoning ordinance and everything was kind of put together, we had town halls. And people came to the town halls. And people noticed if their property was, I don't want to say incorrectly zoned, but if they had a concern about it, they brought that up to staff. Brought it up to Kyle, Juliet, whoever happened to be there. So why wasn't this area brought up as a concern and then looked at before we came to this juncture?
I can go through some of that if Kyle or Evan want to correct me through some of this, or even Miss Katie, because I see her back in the back. So with Planning Commission, we've worked over the last probably 3.5, 4 years on this. And the original thought was that Some areas were going to be introduced. We're eliminating like R3Z, which were some of the zero lot lines that were predominant back with Lake Forest whenever it was first developed. R2Z, again, another zero lot line. Introducing a new zoning called estate residential, which was 1 acre lots. As we're going through this whole process, discussion over the last probably 6 to 8 months at the Planning Commission has come up in regards, and one of our residents mentioned it, is the takings clause. So essentially, let's say I take Kara's property, and Kara's property, because she loves R3, was R3. And we took it and we put it as R1. Well, she could say that we took value away from her. There's the potential for that lawsuit, because as Evan has famously told us, anyone can sue for any reason at any time. So at that point, we looked at all of the different requests, because there were numerous requests across the city to change the zoning, rezone it. I believe we have one that is R1 and wants to be agricultural for a farm. And the determination from Planning Commission was that there is a rezoning process and that those people should go through the rezoning process. I didn't necessarily agree with that, but that was the decision of the Planning Commission. Again, it's what the group decides, not what one individual decides. So as we got ready to make a recommendation to either move this forward or not, one of the things that I had suggested, and I even said in that meeting, I still didn't like it, I wanted to go further, was going on Kyle's comments where he could see R1, not estate residential. I still feel estate residential. I know the neighborhood has been meeting on this. Bless you, Matt. And so that's how this all came to pass with that, as a long, drawn-out kind of shorter version of 4 years' worth of work. So that's why there were some changes based on that takings issue, which, Evan, did I explain the takings clause correctly?
You did a great job, yes, sir.
Katie, is there anything you want to add to that? Because you were all over that with us.
So what is that, just verbiage that has to be in there for protection or something?
Well, no, that's the potential lawsuit we could get. Now, again, it's ultimately up to the board of mayor and aldermen to make the decision on that.
Okay.
So that's what that is. I think we definitely heard from the residents. I know with Mrs. Lanker, we've been discussing this now for almost 4 years, going through this process, because she's been up to date with everything, getting it back to the neighbors. But ultimately, it's as a whole the board's decision. But this is more than just one neighborhood, just so that everyone's aware. If you haven't read through the whole packet, this is a comprehensive, complete rebuild from our 1990s zoning ordinance. We have gone through multiple consultants. The company we consulted with had one gentleman who was there, and then he left for greener pastures. We got another woman from another man from that company who the same thing happened, and then a young woman who was here for a while, and then from there we took it and ran with it, and have been working on everything from definitions to zoning to uses to, there's new overlay districts in this. It beefs up the districts. It also adds design standards to the city, which we have not had. So it is raising the bar for the city. It's taking things that we've learned, whether it's from a small neighborhood, a commercial development, large neighborhoods, taking all the lessons that we've learned and trying to put them together and put something that will take this city. Hopefully, it won't be another, 40, 50 years of going through, of using it, but it's something that will take the city forward to the next level.
Mayor, it also may be worth mentioning too that there's nothing that prevents, if you were to adopt this new zoning ordinance, there's nothing that prevents individual property owners from coming back and requesting whatever zoning that they want to request. It's the main difference where the mayor was going is that that's, if the property owner wants it and the city wants to grant it, then that's at the property owner's request, as opposed to the city imposing it on them, which is what we were trying to avoid.
So these residents could come back and request a state residential
Yes, ma'am.
regardless of whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happens if we decided to vote no on this? We want to send it back to, it would go back to Planning Commission, is that correct?
If we voted no on this, we can send it back to Planning Commission
For
to
amendments?
either, well, we can make, as a board, we can make some changes. If there's anything that major has to be done, that has to go back to Planning Commission.
So let me put it, or let me ask in dummy terms. So if we vote on this Tuesday night and then the next meeting and then this passes, as they said, they can come back and do a, would they have, if that happens, would they have to go back through rezoning or planning?
It depends on how,
BOZA?
it depends how we do it. We have a couple options. Either we can adopt it as it's recommended from the Planning Commission. At that point, anyone that wants any additional changes would go through Planning Commission for rezoning, and then it goes to BOMA and public hearing and votes. That's one option. One we could do similar to what we did with Planning Commission, where we say we want this neighborhood as a state residential. There, as Evan has, well, as Katie said, at Planning Commission, there's risks with that, but it's up to the board to determine if they want to take that or not. Those would be the two options. Evan, Kyle, are there any others I'm not thinking of besides voting it down and sending it back to Planning Commission?
I think you summarized it really well.
So, again, I want to be crystal clear on this. I think that particular neighborhood, because of its condensed to where it's at and located, and I know there's probably several in Laverne, but we're not going to talk about them at the moment. They can do what they need to do. These folks here have gotten together. They have proven that, and they haven't coming up here screaming and stomping their feet. When it comes to vote Tuesday night, can someone make a motion to say, I would like to pass this, but I would like to put something in there that says that we can amend that community and go ahead and pass it as a state residential? Or do we need to legally go through two readings, make it R1, and then they have to come back and go through the process?
So, to answer your question, you can amend anything that you want to amend. The question, sort of what the mayor was touching on, there's a gray area in there about when it needs to be kicked back to the Planning Commission. And I think if you were to make an amendment that had a significant change like that, and that amendment passes, I think that's got to be blessed by the Planning Commission before you can legally adopt it again. So that would be basically sending it back to Planning Commission.
So then, it sounds, from what I'm hearing, the smart thing to do for these folks is to hopefully get this passed on two readings and then let them come back through BOZA and planning.
It would be through planning, but it would be each individual landowner, meaning that if you wanted a state residential for your property, you come back to the city and you make that request, and then the city either grants it or doesn't grant it. that would be the way that it would work if you pass what you have now. If you want to amend it where you're imposing it on people, the risk that's there is that you may impose it on somebody that doesn't want it. And that's what we were trying to avoid doing, is like let people have the choice to do it. If they don't want it, don't impose it on them.
So, Mayor, can we, or Bruce, whoever, can we, if these folks have any more questions, can they come up and ask questions now? Is that legal, or is that at a done deal?
Well, this is a workshop, so people can ask questions. We can bring them up to ask questions. It might be, I don't know if we will have all the answers, if that's that.
So, do any, I know, okay, so come up to the podium.
Chris, come on up.
I know, I'm trying to get the best answer I can get out of this, so for clarity, but, and I'm not stepping on the mayor's toes, but I guess he's got to go through the, put your name and address out there.
So just in listening to you guys discuss it, I had two things that came up. You asked about the timeline. I'm not 100% sure, but you may be asking why we didn't come forward back then to bring this up. My reason, I thought this was a done deal. To be honest, I thought we were a state residential. I thought because the map that's been posted on the webpage for a long time shows us as a state residential. So I didn't know there was an issue until probably 3 months ago. For that, I really hate that it's gotten to this point and we have to go back and redo it. I hate to hear that. And I hope that doesn't weigh in on why we don't do it.
I mean, I wasn't pointing fingers at anybody. I just know that we had the town hall. Can I talk to him? Okay.
Yeah, we have to be careful, that's why I was saying.
Yeah,
You already had started.
Well, I know you got this Robert's Rules things going on, so Evan, correct me. Stop me if I'm wrong. Katie? So, I mean, I understand, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I mean, if it was a state residential, I don't know why it got changed. They said discussion within the PC and with, the attorneys and stuff like that. I was just trying to figure out what, originally it was R2, then a state residential, then it went back to R1, and, I'm just...
Sure. And just from my standpoint, we're here together today. And
Right.
It's, we would have done it back then had I known there was an issue.
Oh, I understand.
And the other thing I noticed, Mr. Brown, you said that we could go as individuals. I feel like that can work vice versa as well. Before this ever went to any kind of lawsuit, I assume someone would come in and request a zoning change, and you'd have to deny it before they would ever go to a change. So instead of having us all individual come in and ask for this zoning, give us all the zoning, and then if there are people that oppose it, let them come in and ask for a zoning change. It seems like you're serving the greater good by going with the state now.
That would be a legal question for our attorney, not to.
Essentially, it's a risk with that takings, and it's a determination that the city has, the city board makes is if we want to take that risk or not.
And let me also be clear too, just so everybody's clear. We don't take a policy position on whether a zone is good or bad. That's not the role we play. So we're not advocating any particular position. We're giving advice to our client about the risks involved in the various courses of action. The client is free to adopt whatever it wants to adopt. So I don't want there to be an impression that I'm advocating for one zoning or another zoning. I'm not advocating that at all.
No, sir. I just wanted to. I'm asking, I guess, too. Is that not vice versa? We can. It could go this way, and we could request that way, or you could go this way and request that way. But you're going to be rezoning this area anyway, is my understanding, to R1, or that was the recommendation. So if it's going to be changed, let's go the way the majority wants. And then if there's expense involved, there's expense involved in coming in individually asking this, which I don't care about a few dollars here and there, but let's just do it right the first time. I think, do right by the residents. But that's all I had.
Mr. Mayor, can I jump in?
Thank you, Chris.
So for the rest of the board, just want to be aware that the Planning Commission made the recommendation. It was unanimous. We've spent 4+ years on this document. 4 years. All I'm asking you to do is to read the document between now and Tuesday. We've had consultants' input, we've had staff's input, we've had Planning Commission, everyone's input on this document. And once this gets passed, being positive, if there needs to be a change, we do an amendment, we do a change to the item that needs to be changed. But at the moment, we are actually holding up numerous developers because they're saying, are we working to the old book, Mr. Coates, or the new books, Mr. Coates? My answer is, at the present time, the old book until the new one gets approved. So all I'm asking is, on the book, is please review it. Any questions, speak to staff. But if you have an issue and want to put it back to Planning Commission, I want to know what the issue is, because we come back with some typographical, that's not the answer. If you've got a major issue, tell in the motion to the Planning Commission what you'd like to see changed. Otherwise, we're just kicking the can down the road. 4 years on this, spent a tremendous amount of money on it. You have questions, I would love you to ask me, but you can't. Ask the staff, they know what they're doing. And for me on the Planning Commission for 25 years, this is the first time I've seen a group come out for one area all together with documents like this. I've had people stand in front of me, complain and moan about me voting one way or the other for one lot. This is one area. No one's come up and had a chance to say, I don't want to do it. Everyone said yes. So I don't feel we should hold them up and us up as a city. We need to get both documents in motion and passed and moving forward. The staff are also here looking at me because they want to get it going too. So all I'm saying is, do your homework, and if there's a reason why you don't want to do it, then please state what it is, and I might even have to put a test together for 10 questions to ensure you've read the book. All I'm saying is, I've spent a tremendous amount of time, and I'd like to get it going one way or the other.
Well, me personally, I'm for it. I'm for the area being like that. I just want to make sure that as a board collectively and as a city, if we do an amendment, is there going to be any legal repercussions that come back to us? And it sounds, from what I'm hearing, the right way is to vote this into R1 and then let the people come back one-on-one and do their thing, because if they do it as a group, there may be some issues. Is that?
That in terms from a legal standpoint, that's the lowest risk option. You're free to do any option you want to do, but the lowest risk option is the one you have on the table now.
That's, yeah. But as a city, we could make the motion to do the amendment Tuesday night and pass it. But we have to listen to our city attorneys and what they suggest to us and tell us. And as I spoke with some folks the other day, you know, you waited this long. If you have to go a little farther to do it the right way. So,
I mean, there's risks in everything that we do. The people are here. They emailed us. We've got phone calls. We've spoke to you. Thank you so much for participating in this process. I agree with you. I'm behind you 100% as far as amending this to go estate residential for y'all. I mean, this is what you do. I've stood behind this podium 6 years ago for the same reasons of, you know, wanting to secure my livelihood and my home. It didn't go the way that I wanted, but now here I am because I wanted to do something about it, and I wanted to be the voice for people out there just like you who want to be heard. So I'm behind you 100%.
Lieutenant Colonel Mednick, name and address, sir.
Hi, Matthew Mednick, 136 Lakewood Drive. I want to begin with 3 consultant companies put Cracker Barrel in the dilemma that they were in. Okay? What I heard Mr. Cope say, the 2 choices, I think the preference, and you can throw tomatoes at me if I'm wrong, would be to send it back to the Planning Commission and get approved for state residential, and then get it approved, since we're all here, would be the way to go, as opposed to passing everything that you want passed, and then we all got to start at the bottom of the barrel again, asking for state residential. And that was the city attorney that's nodding his head up and down to send it back to Planning Commission and do one simple amendment to get us state residential approved and send it back. That's what I think we should do. Yes?
I'll say I'm not the attorney. And this is going to give
Did you
us
stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, though?
But if you're going to send it back, I would just go ahead and make the amendment. You've got the same liability, so there's no reason to take the extra time going back to what it's. If you want to make an amendment to it, so Tuesday night, vote for this, but actually have amended to make this area that you.
So the same liability,
You're going to end up with the
same liability one way or the other, so
If you're going to send it back to just do the same thing,
Tuesday night,
why do that? You're just.
one of us needs to make the motion to accept with the,
You're accepting the same liability, pretty much.
And again, I'm playing devil's advocate with this remark because I've made it quite clear to Von Wood where I stand on this. But the city administrator did message me to let me know that there are group rezonings allowed as well. So just passing that along.
And nothing stopped any of the other rest of the communities from coming and attending these meetings.
Yep.
We're here. So that, I think, would be the preference, to send it back and come back here with state residential. All right?
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Any?
I think I'm following up on the same. I am somewhat confused by the taking. We are currently in R2 zoning. You have no problem moving us to R1. Is that not the same problem?
They're still the same. They're still.
So
there's
why not
still a
just
risk.
jump all the way to the other side and see what happens? Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions from the neighborhood?
does anybody?
Anybody?
Oh, over here.
Okay, now that my nerves are better, 112 Tulip Poplar Drive, Stacy Lanker. Okay, seriously. This is something that we, to answer your question, Carol, with the town halls, we were under the impression that this stuff was pretty much finished, that it was something the city looked at. There were a couple of areas that's what they wanted to do. The city website had the same map up forever. We actually had a resident that had a property, it's not now, but had a property for sale, and they had it listed as a state residential. So there was some confusion. And so we really didn't have a reason to show concern that it wasn't going to be a state residential. Now, I knew that it was not at the time, but I knew that you guys were working on it. I knew that it was in the process of going through planning. And it wasn't until it came into the plan a few weeks before planning that it came to our attention that the board was going to vote, and it wasn't looking good for a state residential. Now, as a neighborhood, and I've only been there 14 years, but prior to me, there was a road that was talked about coming through, and we're a dead-end neighborhood. And the neighbors got together, formed an association, and they got that road stopped. That's what Vaughnwood means to these people. It means to me. When I moved into my home, I found the covenant that was originally written by Mr. Vaughn. That was the most wonderful gift that I had, treasure that I found in my home, because it was exactly what I wanted to live for my dream home. And I just wanted you to know that we're not going to go away. We're going to keep pushing because that's who Vaughnwood is. And Miss Vaughn is here. It's her very first meeting she's ever attended. She doesn't like to speak. She has the most property in Vaughnwood. Her family is the reason it's called Vaughnwood. And her family had this covenant written, and I hope all of you will have a chance to look at it. It's what Vaughnwood was meant to be, and how this estate residential would align with exactly how it was meant to be in the family's vision. So, sorry I didn't tell you that in the beginning, but I thought my neighbors were doing a great job, and I'm not a very, very well speaker, so. But that's, we just want to get this done, but we're not going away. We're just not going to go away. It's not going to happen. So, thank you. And Kara, thank you so much for your response. And Graham, thank you for your response. And I appreciate that each and everybody that I contacted reached out and at least said that they were willing to listen to what our concerns were. Thanks.
Anyone else have any questions?
Who are these people?
I'm getting ready to tell you.
This is
I'm Larry
Vaughnwood.
Lanker. I live at 112 Tulip Poplar Drive in Vaughnwood. And I'm just going to say it plain and simple. We've heard this gentleman speak. He tells you the pluses and minuses, what you're liable for, what you're not liable for. Mr. Brown just said you're liable for either, however you said it, your chances either way. We're asking you to please make a motion to make Vaughnwood a state residential. Somebody second it and give us 5 votes and let us be a state residential, please. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion for the board? Okay.
Sorry, I shouldn't have opened that up, Bruce.
Don't worry, it's Jules who's typing it all out, so. Okay, number 12. First reading ordinance 2025-28, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2025-2026 general fund budget. This is for the emergency purchase for the roof, and the 7 laptops. The total for this amendment is $69,500. Any questions? Number 13, first reading ordinance 2025-29, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2024-2025 general fund budget. This is $320,500. This is year-end adjustments. This includes the city recorder department, wages and overtimes, IT, the fleet department, among others. Anyone have any questions? First reading ordinance 2025-30, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2024-2025 police impact fee fund budget. And this is an amendment for bank service charges. So it's $500. Any questions? First reading ordinance 2025-31, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2024-2025 state street aid fund budget. This is $60,000 being allocated for paving and street striping. Is there any questions on that? First reading ordinance 2025-32, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2024-2025 water and sewer fund budget. And this is operating supplies for the sewer department, and that budget amendment is $65,000. Is there any questions? Next, we have Resolution 2025-22, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. This is 3 seized vehicles for the police department, which is a pickup truck, a Nissan Armada SUV, and a Subaru Forester wagon. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to Resolution 2025-23, resolution authorizing the City of Laverne to join the state of Tennessee and other local governments in amending the Tennessee State Subdivision Opioid Abatement Agreement and approving the related settlement agreements. And this is in regards to one of the many various opioid lawsuits going on, and this is letting us essentially receive a settlement on that. Is there any questions? Moving on to appoint or remove board and committee members, and I'm glad we have a lot of the public here to hear some of this. But we do have some positions open with the Beautification and Arts Advisory Committee. We've got 2 terms that are vacant due to resignations. We've got 1 applicant, which is Allison Corridor, but we still have another position open if anybody wants to apply. No pressure, Miss Vaughn. Then we also have the library board. We've got 1 term vacant as Miss Carissa Benton has resigned. We do not have anyone having applied, and so if you want to apply, you can do that online, or you can pick up a form here at City Hall. This is being advertised on Channel 3 and on social media. Next, we have a discussion, potential donation of the fire department's heavy rescue truck. And this would be to Churchill Volunteer Rescue Squad, which is in Upper East Tennessee. There is 1 of these currently being sold on Gov Deals, and it's generated 1 bid of $9,000 or less. So basically, we can donate this, or we can sell it through the Gov Deals, or we can dispose of it through like a scrap yard. And that would be up to the board. Mr. Chief, what is your recommendation?
My recommendation would be to donate that. I would, rather than sell a vehicle for $9,000 or less, I think that a volunteer rescue squad would have much better service than we would out of it, and frankly, I think that's the best route. That truck's a 2002 model. We've not used it for better than 4 years. We roughly invested $200,000+ in it on the original purchase and maintenance of it, trying to get it up and running. And we were sinking too much money into it monthly. And so we, Vice Mayor, I know you'd appreciate the athletic term here. We put it on the bench. It just was not meeting our value. This group will use it for the same capacity that I would prefer to, but I just cannot justify putting any more money in it at this time.
Okay.
Yeah, if you donate it, are they going to be able to use it?
We shared with them. I had our mechanic, Thomas Daniel, and myself and the gentleman that runs the rescue squad on a 3-way phone call. We gave them every single bit of information that we could potentially make for them to understand. And they still want it.
Is it running?
Yes, ma'am. It still runs. But again, the cost of our maintenance, I can't put any more money into it. For somebody that's going to receive it for free, they may be willing to put more money into it to put it on the road.
So 2 questions I've got is, number 1, if we do donate it to them, they will come pick it up. We're not going to deliver it to them.
We're going to strip stickers off of it, and they'll come pick it up.
Okay, and then this may be for Bruce or Danielle, but yes.
Part of the sea.
So there's not any kind of, because I don't know how that rescue squad is set up, if it's a nonprofit or not, if there's any tax implication as a write-off or not. I know it comes off of our depreciation, but figured I'd ask about that.
Well, this is general fund, so there's not a depreciation issue with this.
Okay.
But no, it would just be a straight donation. There wouldn't be any tax benefit for either group.
Okay.
And I have asked them, once we determine what we want to do with it from y'all, I've asked them 3 times to come take a look at it. And they said, well, let's just see what your board says. If they're willing to give it to us, then they'll come down and take a look at it. They don't want to come down here and then we say no.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mayor, if I may, if we do want to move forward with the donation, we'll obviously have to have 2 separate resolutions, one to put it on the surplus property, if it's not already been done, I can't remember, and then the other to actually make the donation. So this would be on the next month's agenda if the board wants to move forward with that.
Okay, moving on to discussion number 2, and this is about food trucks. We discussed at the budget workshops with Tom Broker here as our economic development director. The discussion was brought up about not permitting food trucks anymore, so we haven't really touched on that. I know we had some people here who were showing up to each meeting, and I said, you know what, why don't we, whenever this comes on the agenda, I would let them know and sent them over a message that we'd get this on there, at least to have a discussion that way. It's not just floating out there over people's heads or anything like that. So I know Tom had brought it up as far as, in relation to our brick and mortar restaurants, the impact there on them. And then you've got, as far as the permitting process, which Joe can speak to as far as what they do. But thoughts?
I definitely have a thought. So I think.
So quiet.
Yeah. Well, you bring up the brick and mortar, those people pay a lot of good money. I think the food trucks are, I think they're okay if we limit them to maybe Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and not let them just sit up and, 24/7. As a matter of fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, these folks, they set up like on the weekends and, yeah, something like that. We just need to come up, in my opinion, we need to come up with the days and times that they are allowed to operate, but I don't think they should be able to operate just 24/7, be sitting in one spot. I know Joe's had a few problems with some of them. I don't know all the particulars, but I do know he's had a problem. But I think we need to, as a board, I guess, collectively come up with some days, some hours, things like that. And, 'cause, they're good when they're good, but let's face it, the people that are paying high dollar rent kind of takes money from them. But on the weekends, there's enough to go around for everybody.
So Bruce, we're not present. We have a ordinance for food trucks, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we could amend that ordinance as the board feels fit.
Yes, sir.
Currently, permits are 6 months or a year, Joe?
They're
1 year.
1 year. So what would happen is everybody who is currently on a permit, if we made any type of changes, whether it's days, hours, any of that, locations, that wouldn't go into effect for that one until the beginning of their next, is that correct?
Correct, when their current permit expires.
So even if we vote something in on it to do that, then they would be excluded from it until that contract is up.
Until that permit is up,
The
yes.
permit, I mean.
I would defer to legal. If the current permit would have to stay, we'd have to honor that until it expired.
For sure, yeah.
So on the permit, does it specify days, times, hours? Or is
It does
just
not.
give
It
them
just-
the right to be there?
It does not. It just specifies the date it was applied for and the date it expires.
So even the people that just set up on the weekends and stuff have the same permit.
Correct.
So then if we do an ordinance for days and hours, then it seems to me like, unless I'm wrong, Evan, it would start right then with them also.
I'd want to think through it first before I commented on it.
Okay. That's fair enough, you know.
But see, let me ask you, I remember we had a discussion about the food trucks, and I remember writing the first draft ordinance that was pushed through Planning Commission onto BOMA at that point in time. It can be amended, if you state what needs to be amended, staff can make the changes and bring the ordinance back to us and we can vote on it.
So it don't have to go through planning, does it?
No, what happened was I got so tired of hearing about food trucks, everyone complaining about it, I just sat down one night and wrote an ordinance and we put it through Planning Commission and moved it on through BOMA.
So who do we need to talk to right now? Jules? Say, hey, Jules, put this into.
I suppose, let me not speak for Bruce, but if you have comments, email Bruce and Jules with what you'd like to put in there. They will then correlate what everyone's thoughts are and bring back a ordinance for us to review and approve.
First, they'll check with legal.
I hope so, yes.
Yeah, and then, okay.
You could come up to the microphone so people could hear you. And if you could state your name and address.
My name is Kerry Williams. I live at 206 Deer Lake Drive in Laverne. Do we have anybody that's representing the food truck community when you guys are making these ordinances? So, because just simply saying that you should operate on this day, and that day, without having any prior knowledge to what it's going to take in order to maintain as a business, just speaks to what the people said here earlier about them not being involved in that thought process, right? Someone is making a decision for them rather than including them in that thought process. For us personally, we operate on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday simply because of what you said. There's not enough business in this area because Laverne has been dry for so many years. And it appears that now that it's picking up momentum when it comes to restaurants and things like that, the people who have been providing a service for the community for so many years, who've grown in this community, are now being pushed to the side and not even being included in the conversation. So that's why me and my wife decided to come out so we could at least have a voice or a say in what's going to happen, because we might not be paying as many taxes as some of these businesses who are currently arriving here to the community, but we have been paying taxes in this community for a number of years, and I think we should have some kind of say when it comes to that. Also, you know, it's hard for any restaurant to maintain itself for a few years, right? Because we know if you don't establish yourself in the first few couple of years, then it doesn't matter what the brand is, you'll end up leaving. With a food truck, you can establish a rapport with the community. They can get to know the food and all of those things before you establish your business, so your business have a better chance of surviving because the surrounding counties and the people in the community know the food. But if you just set up and you don't have enough resources and you're trying to point and say, hey, come here and eat, try us out, you end up burning yourself out before you even get started. And this has been a proven fact right here in Smyrna, where there's, I think it was the print shop or something like that. They done had 3 owners within 1 year because it's hard to get it going. So a food truck allows you to do that, and just limit it to, just put more limits on it will further be detrimental to the success of the business. So what I was just listening there, maybe we should have some sort of representative for the food truck community to say, hey, listen, this is what our issues is. This is why we need to set up from this day to that day to that day. And because, you know, it's all about taste, right? Food and art and things like that is about taste. So no matter, it's subjective. So no matter how well your brand is or whatever, if people don't like it, they're not going to buy there. And I don't think it's fair to blame food trucks for a lack of business when it comes to taste, right? Because we have we have more than enough tacos, right? We don't sell tacos. People come to us and say, hey, do you got tacos? No, we don't sell tacos. We sell American food. We sell smash burgers, hot chicken sandwiches, stuff like that. Comfort food. That's stuff that people need. And there's so many folks who are put out of business from being downtown Nashville and decide to come back to the community because there's a lot of celebrities opening restaurants downtown, and these small mom and pop businesses cannot survive. So the solution was come back to the community, the mom and pop, so they could survive because they don't have the spending power. So that's what you see when you see the rise in the food trucks and stuff like that. You see homegrown businesses trying to establish themselves, and that's what, when we moved to Laverne, that's what we thought the city was about. And now it's just taking on this big city appeal, like, hey, you know, the small guy, this is what you need to do. I don't want to see you around here anymore. You're an eyesore, right? Let us get an opportunity to speak to them, and maybe we can clean up some of these issues. Maybe we can resolve some of these issues that we have before we just make a decision on, you know, you can't be here anymore.
So I've been up here on this board for 7 years, and as far as I can remember, I've never even seen a food truck representative up here.
There's not an association here in Laverne that I'm aware of.
All right, so
I'm all over the place.
We'll start right here.
Okay.
In your opinion,
okay,
what do you think would be a good time or days for food trucks? We're not going to allow them to set up permanently and do that. That's not what, and we're not trying to run them off. We're not trying to discard them or disgrace them, but Joe, his department goes out, and the ones that are set up permanently, man, let's call it what it is. There's grease everywhere. There's sanitation problems. There's can't prove it unless somebody else can. I know they're not paying any taxes. Some of them, not all of them. I'm not going to go there. But in your opinion, let's meet in the middle. Being you're here, I want to introduce you all to the head of the food truck association. All in favor, say aye.
So just for clarity, I just want to know is, just for clarity, so specifically the food trucks and food trailers that are not coming and going every day, the ones that are consistently set up is what you're targeting? Okay.
Well, no, we're not targeting. We're trying to clean it up. Plus, we want the little people to do good, but we want our other restaurant people to do good. So we just talked about this before, and like I said, I'm stuck on, you know, if a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think that's fair. I think that's more than fair.
Would that affect if a company brought us out for, say, their lunch periods or whatever? Would that affect, like, outside of those dates?
I wouldn't have a problem
If you're on
with that.
somebody's private property,
Okay.
I don't see how that would be.
Well, Joe, you look like you're frowning and you want to say something.
Well, our current ordinance doesn't specifically, it tells where they can be located, and it doesn't specifically address special events. You know, it addresses where they can be located, where they cannot be located. One food truck per property and then there can't be another food truck within a quarter mile of that one. And so it's kind of hard to keep up with sometimes, but there's nothing in there specifically, to your point, about special events.
Yeah, because we have some people that hire us out, like, say, you know, in the industrial areas that are in Laverne.
And it's typically on the days that we're not, you know, those days.
It could be a
that we
Monday,
said.
Tuesday, or
Yeah.
Wednesday. So I want to make sure that we're still able to get that piece of business and be okay.
But you're going there for a couple of hours
Mhm.
or whatever, you're doing, and you're cleaning up and you're
Yeah.
leaving.
Mhm.
We got some food trucks that are sitting around, they just sit there 24/7.
Understood.
They open as early as they possibly can. They close as late as they possibly can. And I personally just don't think that's fair.
Yeah, we only operate between
I
the
don't think
hours
it's
of
fair.
11 a.m. and 6 p.m. And then
Usually.
we're done. We don't stay no later than that.
Unless it's a
Not just
special event.
because of other companies who are doing business, but we just don't think it's
We want to
safe
have a
for us
life. We want to have a life.
to be out there past a certain time.
And I think that's fair. I
Okay.
think that's fair.
Well, I understand that.
And I want to clarify one thing that was said earlier. We're not here trying to shut down any one group or what we're having the public meetings on. And this isn't even a voting item currently. Whenever we get to our meeting on Tuesday, this won't be part of the agenda because it's specifically designated as just a discussion item, because we talked about it at a budget retreat. So, okay, we've had, a few months since then. A lot of stuff has gone on. What's the temperature? People have had time to digest, and then we advertise it and put it out there. And I knew y'all were a concerned party, so I sent a message through Robert.
Yes.
But we put it out to the public through social media, through newspaper, and it's posted outside of City Hall so that anybody who wants to can show up and be part of that dialogue with us. Because I'll go ahead and tell you, I don't know of anybody in this group that's owned or operated a food truck. And so we don't have all the answers. Some of the best answers that this board has had during my tenure here has come from people in the public. So that's why we facilitate these conversations, is so that we can talk about it, because we can't. If Kara and I wanted to have a conversation about this, well, we may potentially vote on it. We can't have that conversation. But when we have it here, we can have this conversation both as a board and with the public to try to see what the temperature is and what the thoughts are of everybody.
And our end goal is to have a brick and mortar in the area, but we just didn't think it would be wise to start out that way until people actually knew what we did. So we have every intent to add more value to the community and, in that way.
And for you stepping up and taking over as president of the Food Truck Association.
Laverne Food Truck Association.
Laverne.
The Laverne Food
The
Truck.
Laverne Food Truck Association. Before we end this conversation, I'm going to give you a little advertisement plug. Your trailers and your vehicles are always nice and clean. When you leave, there's never anything they have to clean up about.
What is the name of your food truck? I'm sorry.
Hip Hop's Top Chef.
Hip Hop.
And we
And
do
there-
everyday gourmet comfort food, fried green tomatoes, shrimp and grits, chicken and waffles, smash burgers,
The
And they're
best
over-
fish.
smash burgers
Yes.
And they're over
ever.
by
And we're usually at
B&B
TNT Fireworks,
Fireworks.
but of course, if you find us on Street Food Finder, you'll know where we are.
They're also
I've been a
usually
chef
at our
for
city
over
events.
25 years, and I was the head catering chef for Belmont University for around 5 or 6 years, and I did the 2020 presidential debates, I fed both candidates. So I believe in running a neat, clean
Right.
business. So it's not like, we're kind of like flying by the seat of our pants. We want to do the right thing, and I see some of the things that you see, and I respect the fact that, these other businesses need to make money, because I understand the inside of the whole thing and what it takes in order to make preparation to open up every day. So, it's a lot of work that go into it. It's a lot of risk. So I get that part.
He's not going to let me give him a plug.
I think we just did, because we mentioned where he's at, what kind of food
You
he
mentioned
has.
everything except the main thing.
Fried bologna sandwich.
Homemade barbecue sauce.
Oh, yeah.
They make their own barbecue sauce, and it's outstanding. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, again, as we said, this isn't something that will be on the agenda as a voting item Tuesday, but if you've got thoughts, suggestions, whether you're watching this online, whether you're sitting in the audience to help make this something better for the community, please send that in to either, if you're part of the public, send it in to any of the board members, if y'all have got anything, any suggestions, send those to Bruce, please.
Mr. Mayor, can I also ask Bruce to send out the present ordinance to all of us?
Yes.
So then we can review it, and as we get the emails and phone calls, we can handle the questions appropriately.
Okay, and then the last item, which is discussion with residential trash services. This actually is one that was a hot topic online, and so I told residents that I would at least get this on as a discussion to gauge the board's interest, but currently the way that Laverne is set up, we have trash service. If you want trash service, you contract with who you want and have your schedule. You can change at any time. There's pluses and minuses to that. For me, it's, as far as the pluses is, that's kind of free market. To me, that's true free market economy. You can pick and choose who you want. You can use the convenience center and not pay anything, or you can use a service. At the same time, from a municipality standpoint, there's the aspect of different containers out on the streets, different days, multiple companies, whether it's heavy trucks, whether it's the pickup trucks with the plywood boards that I shake my head at all the time. There's all of those, and there's multiple options, such as leaving it alone the way it is. There's options of contracting it out. And then there's a third option. Bruce, do not throw a chair at me for this, but there's always following in what Murfreesboro's done, which is they actually bought the trucks, hired the personnel, and they go and do trash service. They bought all the dumpsters. Yes, I see you wanting to throw something right now. That is an option, yes, and that all of that costs money. But residents have mixed feelings on this, and so I figured get the temperature for the board, see what their thoughts are on this. My personal opinion is that everyone should be free to choose who they're using or handle it themselves, as some people do. That's my thoughts. I would personally like to see some way, and I don't think there's anything we can really do about this, but where there's pickup trucks with plywood boards on the side, because I see many of those where trash comes out, and because it's an unsecured load and it winds up in our community. I'd love to see that improved upon, but board, what y'all's thoughts on this with residential trash pickup?
Well, I seen that same thing online, and I think Laverne, is Laverne, are we the only city in Rutherford County that has to pay for sewer like we do to Nashville? That other cities, they have their own sewer function and things like that. And where I'm going here is I seen
that would be, I know what you're referencing, but that's a completely different topic.
No, it's not. Stay with me and listen. I know what I'm a garbage connoisseur. I seen the same conversation. People were talking about why can't we get garbage and just add it to our water and sewer bills? I even got an email from somebody, it wasn't none of this group, that said they were all for it. And I just simply told him, I said, sir, I respect your comments, but we have people in this city that cannot even afford to pay their electric bill. Can't stick more water bill on them because of, if Nashville raises their sewer rates, then we raise our water rates more. We try to stay with as much as we can, just so you don't have to go to the convenience center. Because I deal with the seniors all the time, and if there was a way that we could pick it out and say, hey, you don't have to pay no more, but you don't get no garbage service, I don't think that would be a nightmare, but we can't. I've been here 31 years. I've never missed having not having a garbage truck come to my house, I take my garbage, or I'll call somebody. We pay county taxes, it's a free service. Would it be nice? Well, sure it would. Bruce knows it would, even though he knows we can't afford it. It'd be nice. Hey, we just put the trash out there and a big truck come get it. Next thing you know, our trash can's out in the street and somebody's complaining, why's your trash can out in the street? You cannot win. That's it. I'm not going to, unless it's an absolute must, in water bills, I don't want to see them go up because somebody's too whatever to get to the dump.
Mr. Mayor, I concur with you. I think having options and the citizens has options at the present time, and just to leave it the way it is.
I agree. I concur. Yeah.
Kara?
My husband would kill me if I told him he couldn't pick his own garbage service, so just leave it.
That's his one freedom you get.
Well, if there's anything that there was a consensus discussion on, it's this. So, with that, we'll move on to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderwoman Hobbs.
Mary Jane Skinner, I'd just like to point out that there is an opening on the beautification committee, just waiting for your application. We love you so much, Mary Jane. Go ahead. That's all.
Alderman Coates.
Nothing this evening. I think we've had a good discussion this evening, and I appreciate everyone's input and listening to the citizens, and let's keep moving forward.
Alderwoman House.
Thank y'all all for coming out and showing community support, and it would be nice if we had this many people for every meeting and participating in our workshops and meetings. Also, I'd like to send kudos out to PD and Fire. Safety Day, Carrie and Kevin did an awesome job, and the police officers and the firefighters that participated, they were great. 25 kids, ranging from, I think, maybe first grade up to 6th or 7th grade or something. I think so. And a lot of energy and a lot of fun. I was ready to go when I left. Loved it, though. It was so much fun.
Mr. Talkative, Vice Mayor No.
Yeah, hey, me and Miss Mary Jane's almost twins. Saturday is her birthday, and so is mine, so we were almost twins. I can't believe we got through almost a 2-hour meeting and did not bring up Andrew Patton one time. Need to make up for that. But no, I'm glad that we got a lot of stuff done, and I hope that come Tuesday we can make these votes work for citizens. And once this meeting's over, I encourage everyone, including Stacy Lanker. I'm heading up here to the carnival and get me a big old Italian sausage with onions and peppers, and then I'm gonna get me a funnel cake. So the carnival started about an hour ago. Go up and enjoy it. Oh yeah, good thing. Electronic dumpsters, September the 6th at the Senior Center. 7 a.m. till about noon. I got a new company that's going to be doing it for us. I heard they were going to have coffee and donuts and stuff. Now, I don't know. This will be my first time with them, but September 6th. Here's the easiest way that I can explain the electronics. People say, what all do you take? This is what they told me. Computers and all that stuff, of course. If it's got an electrical cord on it, bring it, regardless of what it is. That's what they told me. So if it's got a pigtail, bring it. It don't cost nothing, but we're not going to turn down no donations for the seniors. That's right. Look at her on her game. Good job.
Thank you, sir. Well, do want to remind everyone the carnival has started. It's this weekend, starts today. Should be a lot of fun for everybody in the community. I know Miss Mary Jane Skinner is going to ride on that big flipping and spinning ride with the vice mayor. No, the vice mayor is going to ride with you for your birthday. They're going to hold hands, make your way all the way through. But I do want to mention two other things. Number one, I want to introduce everybody in the community, and she's absolutely going to hurt me for this because she does not even know I'm doing this. I want y'all to meet Donna Tracy. If you could come up to the podium, this is our new city PIO.
Hello, everyone.
So everyone should have received an email from her today with the city, and so if you want to just give us a brief overview of who you are.
Okay, I'm Donna Tracy. I'm PIO, obviously. I've lived in Smyrna about 27 years ago. It's a very different place from what I have returned to 3 weeks ago, and I've been with the city 1.5 weeks now, so every day I'm getting more and more excited about being here, and I was excited to be here to begin with. I've met a lot of you. I've still yet to meet a few of you, though I've heard a lot about some of you. And I look forward to working with everyone. And I did upload 2 articles today, so everyone check the website. There's an article on the Howl at the Moon. I was amazed at the number of runners that showed out at that. And there's also an article about the Summer Safety Day. So.
And that accent's Western Kentucky, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It sounds a lot like Vice Mayor
It's a completely southern accent.
Completely,
South London.
okay.
South London originally, so.
Thank you, ma'am. And then I want to touch on something that Alderwoman Haas talked about, is this involvement is what we need, not just with special events or when people are angry at something that we're doing. It is something that we need on a regular basis. We need people active, involved in our community, because the only way the community gets better is by all of us participating in it, because it's not the board's community, it's not staff's community, it's our community, it's all of ours. So thank you all for being here, and everybody, not just our Vaughnwood friends, but even our people who make the best smash burgers that I've ever had.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
with that, call this meeting adjourned.